Hi, my name is Sabra Bledsoe, and I am presenting on the topic of the importance of effective reading strategies today. I'm presenting to two of my coworkers, Jamie and Erica, and my co-researcher on this topic was Lindsay Bradford. One of the main goals in education is to improve reading comprehension. Reading normally begins in the home, as children are exposed to oral conversations and are read aloud to by their parents. This helps to sharpen children's listening and speaking skills. There is research that has proven that there is a positive correlation between those who learn to read early and their later academic success. In the beginning stages of reading, there is a focus on word recognition and building a strong vocabulary. Readers must also understand how words are linked to each other to make new meaning. These are skills that will be necessary in order to be successful in any subject and in the workforce. Reading comprehension expands beyond simply recognizing words and their meanings. According to Alexandria, to truly comprehend, one must be able to use prior knowledge to make inferences that will allow for enriched meaning of what they have read. Functional illiteracy can hamper one's ability to complete daily living and work skills since reading is a part of everyday life. Students who fail to learn proper reading techniques at an early age may experience difficulties throughout their life. A large number of students who reach the 4th grade without adequate reading skills will end up on welfare or in prison. This information sheds light on the importance of obtaining good reading skills. Children who are read to 3 or more times per week are more likely to know their letters and actually read by the time they enter school. The difference between struggling readers by the end of 1st grade and proficient readers is that proficient readers have been exposed to many more words and running text. Children who read proficiently in 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to graduate than those who cannot read on grade level at that time. Students often make adequate reading progress in the early grades and begin to struggle again around the 4th grade. This may be due to the fact that there are fewer picture clues in 4th grade text, and there is also an increase in vocabulary words. It is rare that struggling readers catch up to their achieving peers. Students with reading levels that are 2 or more years below their peers may enter special education and be expected to maintain the gap or fall even farther behind. Unfortunately, low reading skills are a strong predictor that a student won't receive a diploma. In fact, research shows that low reading skills causes more students to drop out than poverty. Students who are identified as struggling readers must become a main priority in schools. Teachers have expressed concern about how to work with students on different levels within one classroom. Differentiated instruction is the best way to improve students' reading comprehension, but classrooms are often overcrowded, making it difficult to provide this type of instruction. Teachers feel that it is very important to have time to collaborate and share ideas so that they can learn from each other and so that they can learn new strategies to use with their students. It is very important for educational leaders to understand the importance of professional development. Teachers must be trained on the best practices to implement with their students. By finding time for training and time to collaborate with colleagues, teacher morale and confidence will strengthen, and this will allow educators to promote high achievement in their classrooms. Students that lack good reading skills often become overwhelmed and sink further below the reading level of their peers. This causes the reading gap to grow and increases levels of frustration. Students that lack key skills, such as skilled decoding and language comprehension, often feel frustrated and have negative emotions towards reading in school. Studies have shown that struggling readers often have emotional breakdowns, and they feel that their self-worth is tied to their success in school. Struggling readers are typically anxious, and they tend to lose motivation in school. They lack self-confidence, and they either try to hide or act out in class to avoid from having to read in front of their peers. By better understanding and being prepared to deal with the adverse effects of struggling readers, teachers can plan for ways to implement interventions. There are several effective strategies to use with emerging readers. In the early years, you can practice the sound structure of words. Some other effective strategies include think aloud protocols, concept mapping, making analogies, small group instruction, modeling, and tutoring. Giving students reading choices might also motivate them to read. Students must also be allowed to apply their reading in meaningful ways. Refer to the experts in your building, such as reading specialists, for additional ideas, resources, and support. Lastly, have students practice summarizing and encourage reading outside of school. Parents should also be involved in the process of building confident readers. Phonological awareness instruction is beneficial when it is taught with the teaching of phonics or letter-sound relationships. Teachers should use analogies by identifying cues and drawing in on students' past experience and general knowledge of the context. Teachers should always make a point to point out keywords within text. Concept orientation reading instruction involves engaging students through the use of inquiry science. This often includes the use of manipulative and demonstrations. Having students as peer buddies throughout the class or using tutors after school are great ways to incorporate cross-age and same-age tutoring. In centers, teachers should provide reading choices that interest a variety of students. In scaffolding, the teacher clearly models a comprehensive strategy to the students during read aloud and shared reading in whole group settings. Then the students move into small groups where they can practice these skills at their level. Finally, students are able to use the strategies independently. Schools should also send home books for students to use over the spring breaks, summer breaks, or any times they are out of school. This gives parents access to books they may not have had the means to purchase. These are all great ways to use effective reading strategies. Response to intervention, or RTI, is a great place to implement reading strategies. Through RTI, later interventions are provided to students who do not achieve specified levels of progress. These students are based in various tiers and receive additional intense instruction. The students are progress monitored, and the monitoring reports are used to provide reliable information about how well students progress. The main goal of RTI is the prevention of academic difficulties through effective classroom instruction and intense interventions. Research has shown that through the proper use of RTI, both individual and overall reading scores on standardized tests can be raised and adequate yearly progress can be met. Research has proven that the lack of proper reading skills can lead to lifelong obstacles and challenges. Fortunately, reading skills can be improved through the implementation of effective reading strategies and interventions. There is a need for continued research in this area at all grade levels. We encourage our readers to assess the current reading strategies that are being utilized within their building or district. We hope that educational leaders, especially those who specialize in reading instruction, will consider incorporating the best practices discussed within this manuscript. We challenge our readers to develop a reading improvement plan for their school, which entails increased professional development as well as improved instructional strategies and tools. Our hope is that schools will see noticeable changes in teacher morale, improvement in students' reading performance, and an increase in students' long-term opportunities for success. Do you have any questions?
What are some signs that indicate a student is struggling with reading?
Some obvious signs can be identified through assessments and oral assessments. If a student stumbles over words or has trouble identifying the words or mispronounces words, then that's a sign that there's a struggle somewhere with their reading skills. Also, in observations, a teacher may notice the struggling readers shy away from reading in front of the class, or sometimes they even act out in order not to be chosen to read in front of their peers. Those are some signs that I would look for when trying to identify students that are struggling in reading. Any other questions?
What suggestions would you give an expecting mom when it comes to teaching reading skills?
I would suggest to an expecting mom to begin reading to their child actually before birth. And after birth, I would suggest that you continue to read as often as possible to your child, exposing them to pictures in books, words and letters, even before they can recognize them. As they get a little older, I would suggest that you point out words to help the student identify words and letters in print. Also, to point out the words as you read from left to right so that students can begin to identify how sentences are structured from left to right. Also, I feel it's important to begin early exposing children to vocabulary and expanding their vocabulary. I would suggest showing students the alphabet at an early age, or your child an alphabet at an early age, so that they can begin to identify letters, and also teach them the sounds of those letters at an early age, so they can begin to put the letters together to form words and know their sounds. Those are some suggestions I would have for an expecting mom and a mom of a younger child to help them prepare for when they become school aged. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, thanks for listening to my presentation today on the importance of learning effective teaching and reading strategies, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.